Greetings! In this video I'm going to show you how to install the latest version of REEDR on your computer. And so the first thing you need to do is go to REEDR's GitHub page. I'll include that link in the video description, but basically that's what this looks like. If you're not familiar with GitHub, to get to the actual releases, you go to the right hand side over here. You see releases right here. And then you click on the tags to see the actual releases. And so these are all the past REEDR releases. And the most recent one is at the top here, version 1.2.0 beta. Click on that and you can see what's new in the latest REEDR release up here. But if you want to install it, go down to the assets here and you really just need this REEDR setup.exe. Click on that, download it to your computer. I've already done it, and so I have that right here on my machine already. So if you double click that, you'll get kind of the typical warning. Do you want to allow this computer to make changes to your machine? If you trust the source, say yes, and then you'll get this Windows installer. And so it's pretty quick and easy. It has a licensing agreement. By default, REEDR installs on just at the top of the C drive, which I would recommend. Say next. I've already done this, and so it's just asking if I'd like to install over that folder, which I do. Click next, and then you can create a desktop shortcut if you want to. So I'll say next, and then you install. So we'll let that install. It is pretty quick, although there are quite a number of weather files in this particular version, and that takes the bulk of the installation time. But it's done, so say finish. The other thing that you need to do, and again, I will include this link in the video notes, but you need EnergyPlus on your computer as well. And specifically, you need EnergyPlus version 22.2. So this version right here. And so if you have a Windows computer, 64-bit machine, the version that you would want is this x8664.exe. So if you click on this and download that file on your computer, that will basically be an EnergyPlus Windows installer, kind of your typical thing that you just walk through and install EnergyPlus on your machine. So at this point, you should have downloaded and installed REEDR, downloaded and installed EnergyPlus version 22.2, and that's pretty much what you need to get going. I'll minimize this and go to my C drive where REEDR should be available. And so sure enough, REEDR version 1.2.0. I will make future videos where I go through a lot of this stuff in detail, but this is the quick start guide. So just to show you what you need to get going, this model input template, this is where you define your actual EnergyPlus models. And so there's a README tab here to get you going. There's a data dictionary that explains all of the inputs in detail. This is brand new for this version, I have a geometry reference tab so that you know what I'm referring to when I talk about the left side of the building or the back of the building, for example. Model inputs, this is the really important tab where you define your models. So basically every row in this tab is an EnergyPlus model, or will become an EnergyPlus model. So again, I'm not going to go through this tab in a lot of detail, but each of these fields has some notes to help guide you. And again, don't forget there's the input data dictionary to help guide you too. I already have it pre-populated with quite a few models actually, and so it's really all ready to run if you want to. I'll delete some of these models just so that it runs a little quicker, and so I'll just keep 5 of these models here for now, and I'll delete the rest of the inputs. Now I just have actually 4 models here, and so I'll save that. It's important to always save before you run it through REEDR. Okay, got our model saved. Now I'm going to launch REEDR itself. So double click on that and you'll see this graphical user interface pop up here. Now, if you've never run REEDR before, you first have to link up with EnergyPlus, and you only have to do this once, and after that Reader will remember it. If you click Browse and go to EnergyPlus, if you follow the defaults, it installs to the C drive, version 22.2, and then you got to find the EnergyPlus exe. So go down here, this EnergyPlus application file. So say Open, and that's it. That's all you need to do to link up to EnergyPlus. So for the rest of this, you have to give your project a name for this simulation that you're running. I'll just call this, let's call this example 3. You have to point to the model input template that you're using. By default, there's only one, but as of this version, you can create copies of the model input template and name it whatever you want, and Reader will automatically find it and populate this drop-down menu. So for now, I'll just say the model input template. There's different scenarios that you can choose to simulate. You can do an annual run. You can do a sub-annual run and select your beginning dates and end dates. If you just want to look at a particular time period, for example. There's different granularities and outputs that you can select. You can do hourly output or time step level output if you're doing sub-annual runs. If you're doing an annual run, then you can do annual output, hourly, or time step. Then finally, you have some decisions, or some options rather, for the end uses that you can output. If you're doing an annual simulation and annual granularity, that's not a lot of output you're going to be generating, and so it just effectively outputs all end uses. However, if you're doing more finely granular analyses like hourly or time step granularity, that can generate a lot of output. And so in that case, it's probably best practice to select the particular end use that you're interested in looking at. Let's say heating, for example. There's also this test run option, which basically just it simulates a single day, and I consider it best practice to do a test run first, and what that does is it makes sure that all of your inputs are correct and consistent, because Reader has a lot of built-in error checking. So let's just do a test run just to show how this works. So I'll click Run. I already have an example 3 project, so it asks me if I want to overwrite it, and so I'll say yes. So the graphical user interface will fade away, and then Reader starts running. So the first thing that it'll do is it'll read in that model input template, and then it starts building the models. And it typically builds models very quickly, in fractions of a second, typically. So it builds those models really quickly, and then since we're only simulating a single day, this test run, it also runs them through EnergyPlus very quickly, and then generates the output. So that's it. It tells you that the run was successful. You can click Enter, close the window. The results of that run will show up in your projects. And so if you go to Projects, you'll see I have an example 3 folder here that just finished. And you'll see that it creates a folder for every single run label that I defined. And within those folders, you'll see the sort of the raw outputs out of EnergyPlus in addition to the IDF files. You'll see that Reader also compiles a run report, which basically combines the output of all 4 of the files and simplifies the outputs from those. And so you can see that there. So that's pretty much it. This video covered how to get Reader installed and up and running on your computer pretty quickly. I'm going to be creating follow-up videos that are going to dive deeply into all different aspects of Reader, both the architecture of Reader and then also how to do particular model analyses. Thanks for watching.